Okay, let's try this again. Take two. So James Reamer asked for the week of what if Gwenpool was in the MCU? I am sorry about earlier today. It's weird. This was the last video I did. No, it was not last. It was the second to last video I did during the day. And I had been checking every video I had been doing up until that point. Um, to be sure that that it was being that it could be heard because I've been having issues, and I think I might have figured out what the issue is. I'll have to test it out, but I think I might know what the problem is. Either way, though, no, that's not the one I want to get rid of. So there we go. But yeah, so it was the second to last video. The Lantern Corps video, from what I can tell, is fine. I'll double check that in a little bit too. But from what I can tell, it's fine. I've had no other people commenting on the Lantern Corps video. So it's weird why this one's suddenly hiccups. But again, I think I know what it might have been. Either way, though, I tested my volume, and I'll test the video out again before I put it up this time. What if Gwenpool is in the MCU? So Gwenpool is one of the alternate versions of Gwen Stacy / Deadpool. Gwenpool is not, though, just Gwen Stacy if she were Deadpool. No, it's actually a lot more meta than that. Basically what happens is her character got sent to an alternate pocket reality that was identical to hers, and she had basically fourth wall awareness of the differences. She could jump through her comic panels, transport things between comic panels. She was able to actually pull alternate versions of characters out of other characters and send them to the blank space where the reader is. This was only a temporary power. She was basically a kind of a god in many ways. She could even time travel, basically, by going back through the panels. So she was kind of a god in her own world to some degree. But after it was all said, did she retcon herself to be a mutant with this sort of meta level, a medium awareness? And that's kind of where she stands. She does use guns, hand-to-hand fighting, and swords like Deadpool, but she's nowhere near as skilled as he is. She has an average or above average level of use with these weapons. She's not a master by any stretch of the means. So what would a character like this kind of be like? Someone did, even though there was no volume or no dialogue, unfortunately, no sound. But someone did mention that MCU wouldn't add this character in because of She-Hulk and Deadpool already. But that's not what the What If is about. It's about what if she got added into the MCU. Where would she show up first? Or how would she interact with the world? Unfortunately for her, unlike a Deadpool who still has the advantage of the healing factor, master assassin skills, and all that, she kind of actually would get her teeth kicked in this world because her medium abilities, are actually not that high grade enough to affect, I think, the cinematic universe. They seem strongly tailored to the comic universe. And because of that, she would still be probably someone you don't want to necessarily F with if you're an average going person, a thug or whatever. But someone like a Black Widow, even a Scott Lang, could probably take her on in a fight without too much difficulty. But the medium awareness would be, because all we have to do really is look at how Deadpool interacts with the world in the movie universe to get an idea of what her limitations really would be. Because Deadpool can kind of do the same thing she can do to a much higher degree. It's just he's a much more dangerous opponent. And in the movies, he's not like reaching through the screen. He's not manipulating the world around him. He's talking to the audience. He has an awareness of his fictional medium. He has all of that, but that's really all that he's capable of doing in there. So that's kind of how it would be for Gwenpool, except not as effective because she would kind of get her teeth kicked in. In terms of where she would show up, I think a She-Hulk would actually make a lot of sense for, like, two fourth wall breaking characters clashing would be a pretty fun little endeavor to have. So, yeah, otherwise, in terms of movie universe that she would show up in, she doesn't really fit well into, like, let's just look at the TV medium for a second. She could fit in a bit with a Hawkeye. I could see she could definitely. In fact, I could see her fitting out very well with a Hawkeye, especially against Kate Bishop, who's kind of young and naive. She could work with a Ms. Marvel to some degree. She definitely could do that. Like I could see her talking to Kamala and be like, "Oh, so you're a mutant? Oh, way to go, Feige! You know, you finally course corrected what those editors did all those years ago." I can see that happening. She definitely totally fits with that kind of series. She doesn't fit with a Moon Knight, though. She doesn't fit with a Loki. Although Loki might be like an odd black sheep in that scenario, given the whole TVA variant thing. But she doesn't fit with a Winter Soldier or Captain America show. She does not fit with a WandaVision. In terms of the movies, there's not a lot tonally she fits with. She's a very quirky. She could be thrown into one of the Deadpool movies. Deadpool 3, in theory, whenever that comes around. But out of that, besides that, though, out of all the films that have come out, like, tonally, weirdly enough, Thor Love and Thunder, but she just wouldn't, there's no point in having her in there, except for tone. I might, are the only one I can really think of, because it's the closest to maybe a straight comedy we have in the MCU Marvel films, apart from Thor Love and Thunder. And Thor Love and Thunder itself is pretty much the closest we have to a straight comedy, really single film wise. Franchise wise, no, it's a lot more balanced out. But if we're talking about franchise, the Ant-Man series I think is actually the most tonally similar to Gwen. At least up until now. We have to wait to see what Ant-Man Quantumania is going to bring, and from what we can tell, what we know about it, is going to go a little darker. It's definitely going to be something a bit more, a little less serious, or a little more serious, I should say. Still obviously going to have probably a tone maybe lighter than some of the other films, but like if compared to Wakanda Forever, from what we can tell, oh no, that thing's going to be chuckles galore. But ultimately, yeah, even no matter what would happen, if she got thrown into the MCU, she would not fare very well in the MCU. And this really just comes from the fact that she doesn't have an actual Deadpool ability, like a healing factor. She just has comic medium awareness, basically. She has fourth wall awareness. That's it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just the way the character is. Ultimately, I don't think her impact in the MCU would be great. It'd be fun, but it wouldn't be a great impact. Not great in terms of like, oh god, it's going to be terrible, but great as in she's not going to have a major effect on anything. But look, this is just my opinion. What do you think in the comments below? Let me know. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.